Hi, everyone. My name's Micaela, and I'm the result of what happens when the blackest man in the world marries the whitest woman in the world. It was the 70s, afros were in style, and my parents made each other happy. My parents worked a lot, so I was raised a lot of the time by my grandmother, who was a happy woman. She found her happiness in baking desserts with full-fat everything, drinking 10+ cups of coffee a day, and by making the best homemade Halloween costumes. So all this was great, beautiful, interracial love until high school. That's me in high school. Exactly. So in high school, I had to pick teams. And by picking teams, I mean that I was too black for the white girls, and I was too white for the black girls. I also had a very unfortunate mustache that was too dark for any boy of any color. So, I hooked up with the Italian and the Portuguese girls who didn't care, and they had really great mortadella sandwiches. Talk about happiness. So when you don't fit in, one approach is to be a perfectionist at all the things you can control. So that was my strategy. I got straight A's, I went to university, I got a job in New York City, and tried to be the best at what I did. I started dating a great guy, and a couple of months into our relationship, we were in a department store shopping, and there was a sale on pots and pans. Now, I'm a perfectionist on a budget. So I say to him, these pots are 75% off. Let's buy the set of pots together. He freaks out. He wasn't so into the idea of buying a set of pots with a girl he's only been dating for a few months. Translation, not happy. So he gets out of the line, he hands me the pots and tells me that I should buy them on my own and that maybe on occasion he'll come over and use the pots. Fine, I say. So for years, it was the running joke between us that he wasn't ready to buy pots. Fast forward about 4 years later, we're still dating, and he tells me he has a surprise for my birthday. So we get into a taxi, and he blindfolds me. When he takes off the blindfold, we are in the pots and pans department of Macy's department store. And he says, you can have any pots that you want, or you can have this ring. So I was like, yes. I have to admit, that was a good one. Happy moment, perfect proposal. So we lived, the carefree single life for a few years in New York, and then we decided we were ready to have a baby. Yes, it's all working out perfectly. I'm on my way to become the perfect mother. It's gonna be great. I start to chart my cycle. I know when the exact perfect moment for optimal baby making is. So that night, my man is in the kitchen making a spaghetti dinner. I'm in the other room, and all of a sudden I hear a blood-curdling scream. I run into the kitchen, and I find pasta all over the walls, his pants drop to the ground, and scalding hot water is everywhere. So when he was draining the pasta water, the handle off the pot, I will note, not the wedding pots, this was a pot we inherited from someone else, the handle broke off the pot, and the boiling hot water went right in the middle. To be graphic, he burnt his penis. So here we are, not so happy. We call the doctor. The doctor prescribes an elaborate concoction of creams that are gonna rescue the penis and get it back in good working order for our baby making. I don't know what it is with men, but they cannot let another man's penis go down. They don't wanna see it out of order, okay? They will do anything to keep that guy going. If that was me, I'd put the penis on vacation for 6 months after 13, third-degree burns, but to our surprise, we got pregnant. So given the circumstances, my husband is very proud of himself and calls himself the impregnator. So speaking of pain and suffering, labor and delivery, not so great. For me, it was 20 hours of pure torture. Anyone who's had a baby knows that labor is the worst pain ever, especially when your baby is close to 9 pounds. But I survived. And I decided if I can survive birthing a baby, I can survive the New York City Marathon. All those runners going by, looking so happy, high-fiving, endorphins flowing. I can do that, no problem. The woman who won the whole race that year, Paula Radcliffe, had just had a baby 10 months earlier. I figure if she can win the whole thing, I can finish. So 8 months after having my baby, I was determined to be one of those happy people running the streets of New York City for 26.2 miles. Apparently, no one gave me the memo that marathons are number 2 on the worst pain in the world scale. The race started with me pumping milk at the starting line in November in New York City. If you've ever been to New York City in November, it's freezing. So you have an idea of how that race started out. Mile 7, I got a visit from Aunt Flo. You guys know who Aunt Flo is? Yeah, that's the period. Yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, should I stop? Should I just pack it in? Hell no. Hit a water station, splashed a little water on the situation, and kept it moving. I was determined to get those happy high fives. So the rest of the race was, a little tough. Mile 25 kind of felt like I was going to die until I got to the finish line. When I crossed the finish line, I felt like I was reborn, minus the use of my legs for about a week. This is me and the 9-pounder on the race day. So I didn't get far on my quest to be the perfect mother because very soon after, I got pregnant with baby number 2. Too much happiness on New Year's Eve. There was an all-inclusive thing. Champagne was involved. That's another TED Talk. So 2 babies back to back. I tell myself, babies are not accidents. Babies are a gift. I haven't caught up yet with the mess of the gift of laundry from baby number 1, but it's fine. I'm going to do this. I got this. Motherhood is all rainbows and happiness. So along comes labor. I'm a pro now. I've experienced labor pains. I'm a marathon runner. I'm going to do this. I have it all set. I arranged for acupuncture so I don't have to get the epidural. I have my favorite playlist loaded on the iPod. Bring it on. It's going to be perfect. So on my due date, I decide to go for a pedicure because if I'm going to have my legs hiked up in the air, pushing out a placenta, my toe polish is going to be looking fire. Okay? P.S. If you've never seen a placenta, keep it that way because it looks like the exact opposite of happiness. So during my pedicure, I start to feel some contractions, and I'm thinking, it's no problem, I can do this. Doesn't hurt so bad yet. Got lots of time. So I decide to walk home. It's about a 20-minute walk from the salon, and about halfway through, my water breaks on the sidewalk. Big gush, like in the movies. Luckily, I'm wearing a skirt, and it's New York City, so people have seen far worse things happening on a public sidewalk. In fact, no one even notices. So I call my husband. He offers to come and pick me up, but I say, it's fine. I got this. I can walk 10 minutes home, no problem. Hear me now. If your labor breaks on the public street, don't try and walk anywhere, okay? I basically was in full-on labor, almost didn't make it home. Finally, we get in the car. On the way to the hospital, we hit some serious traffic. Contractions are crazy. My husband has to pull up because in Manhattan there's no parking lots, so I'm literally crawling into the hospital by myself. It's amazing. This is kind of not how my perfect labor was envisioned. No one is paying attention to me in the hospital for 2 reasons. One, there is an emergency birth happening down the hall, so all the doctors and nurses are running to help that woman. Secondly, I can't speak because I'm in so much pain that I'm sitting in a chair groaning by myself. My husband finally comes in. He calls the acupuncturist, voicemail. So that's amazing. So I say, screw the acupuncture, find the man with the drugs, okay? The drugs will make me happy. Finally, a nurse comes in and asks me to fill out my social security number, my birth date, on some forms. Do you have any idea what it's like trying to fill out paperwork when there's like a Mack truck trying to make its way out of your body? Not good. So I look at her with the face of death, and I say, get the man with the drugs. This baby is coming out, and I'm not happy. So the nurse didn't really appreciate my tone, and she told me to calm down because I had a long time to go, and I should stop getting myself all worked up. So at this point, I'm thinking, I should be listening to my calming playlist. I want a refund from the acupuncture guy, and why did I drink so much on New Year's Eve? So at this point, there's no doctor, there's no man with the drugs, it's just me in the worst pain ever, and the next words I hear are, there's the head, it's a girl. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean it's a girl? I was so confused, and my husband said, it's born, it's a girl. Basically, a contraction pushed the baby out without me really even being aware. A mini exorcism, if you will. Med student in the room, her first day, she almost fainted. Husband's yelling at all the doctors. It was a beautiful sight. So, the bad news is, med student attempted to sew up my vagina with the textbook. Not the best. But the good news, beautiful, healthy baby girl born in record time. So here I am now, 2 beautiful, perfect, healthy babies, and I'm on my way still to be the perfect mother. In my opinion, one of the greatest things about being a parent is celebrating the holidays with your family. Christmas, for me, not so happy. You've got the judgy in-laws, the snow, the crowded shopping malls. I mean, birth of Christ is great, but it just stresses me out, the whole thing. Easter, I mean, you're nailing people to the cross, not a happy holiday, okay? Halloween, finally a happy holiday, all right? Remember Grandma with the homemade costumes? She passed on the costume gene to me. And so now my family is notorious for having the best costumes in town. So here we are celebrating the best holiday where you don't have to buy any gifts or cook a turkey. We've got amazing costumes, the kids are healthy. I should be on my way to being the perfect happy mother, right? Wrong. What is the one thing no one really tells you about kids, apart from don't let a med student near your vagina after birth? Kids cost more money than you think. So it was time for me to go back to work. And when you have kids, it's really hard to go back to a job that you're not so happy about. I had a degree in urban planning, master's degree. And the urban planning field is full of politicians, not happy people, and residents who are largely trying to stop everything that you're trying to build, also not happy. So I thought it's time for me to look for something new. I came across a job posting that was looking for mothers who were expert storytellers. I figure, I can do this. That would be me. So I started working for a company called SCARRY MOMMY, and my job is to tell stories and bring them to life through video. I literally get to come to work every day and tell over-the-top funny stories about women and mothers and work on scripted series. Oh, and get this, I get to make costumes. It's basically Halloween every day at my work. This is me dressed up as Cardi B. Okay. So I will say this was a completely unexpected path for me, but my job truly does make me happy. And part of my job involves pitching new shows. One of the shows I pitched a little while back was about a topic I think I know a little bit about, and that is vagina. Yes, the show was to be called Madge the Vag, hosted by Madge, who is a vagina expert. She goes around town talking about the most taboo topics in a way that is fun, educational, and liberating for women who have largely been socialized to be ashamed of our bodies. So, as you can imagine, when I proposed this show idea, there were some people who thought, maybe don't put vag in the title. Nobody's gonna wanna watch that show. So I said, thanks for the feedback. I'm gonna get back to working on my show called Madge the Vag. That is now our most popular series with millions of views. So I'm gonna show you a quick clip of Madge the Vag.
Honey, don't forget to wash down there. Give those privates a scrub. Your flour, your cookie, your lady bits. Ugh, why is it so hard for us parents to call a vagina a vagina? I mean, that's what it is, right? Instead, we're calling it cutesy names like hoo-hoo, ha-ha, wee-wee, and la-la. But is there a perfect name for your privates?
When you have children, do you think you're going to use the clinical terms, or are you gonna do little cute terms at first?
Probably avoid it for the first 20 years.
Well, I have a girl, so I refer to the female's organ as the lady part or lady business.
Unless it's a curse word, maybe they shouldn't say it.
Oh, like a 5-year-old shouldn't say pussy.
By 3 years old, the child really does know their nose and their toes and their knees, and they should know their vagina and their vulva.
Vagina. Vagina.
Vagina.
Vagina. If you have any suggestions, put them in my box. And by box, I mean vagina. I'm just kidding. I mean my inbox.
Thank you. So right now I'm at the point in my life where I've accepted that I'll never be the perfect mother who is always perfectly happy. What I do know is that the things that I felt deep down that I knew I wanted weren't always obvious, but they were the ones worth going after. Getting up here today on this stage wasn't easy for me because, in a way, I felt like my story didn't have an ending. But maybe that's what motherhood is. It's the greatest gift of your life and the greatest challenge that never really ends. So I am so grateful that my Halloween-loving grandmother is still going strong at 100 years old, and I am the happy co-owner of multiple pots and pans with an amazing partner, penis totally back to normal. And I am the proud mother of 2 smart, healthy girls who love running as much as I do. And even though they were the ones who brought total chaos into my life, they taught me that that's actually where you have to search for happiness. You have to search for it in the mess, and the imperfect moments are actually sometimes the happiest if you stop looking for them. Thankfully, my daughters have also not been cursed with my facial hair, so there's that. Thank you so much for listening.